I've never been to a war memorial before, so going to the Kranji War Memorial was a new experience for me. When I arrived there, I saw rows and rows of gravestones, which I had expected to look old and weathered, but they were smooth, and the whole place was very clean. The flowers there were nice too. On each gravestone, I saw that there was the name of the person, their unit number, the date they died, and their position in the army. Most of them were in their mid-20s and early 30s, which made me feel sorry for them and their families. As I walked past rows and rows of gravestones, I was reminded of the documentary I watched during History of Malaysia about the Japanese occupation and all the shooting scenes. Not only were there British gravestones, but there were also Chinese gravestones, Indian gravestones, and gravestones from other races. There were the names of people from multiple races carved on the stone walls near the end of the graveyard, and it made me feel sad to see the destruction the Japanese had caused. The Chinese had their gravestone at a different location, and I thought the reason for that was because they were punished the most severely by the Japanese, so they deserved a different place. I was glad that I wasn't here in Singapore during World War II, because I wouldn't want to have to experience the Japanese occupation and their torture methods. The other place I went to that related to World War II is the old Ford factory. When I first arrived there, the first thing I saw was the garden. They had many plants and flowers, and around the back of the factory they were growing potatoes, rice, and other food. I had not expected a garden at the old Ford factory, so I was a little surprised when I arrived there. The old Ford factory was cleaner and smaller than I had expected. Inside, there were many artifacts and documents hung up on the walls and statues of some Japanese people. I also saw a room where the British surrendered to the Japanese, and I thought that was interesting. There were written interviews hung up on the wall, mostly interviews from the people affected by the Japanese occupation in Singapore. It was quite sad to read about what the Japanese did to the people. There were also many facts about what happened during the war and the torture methods the Japanese used. The things which I thought was really cool were the few medals on exhibition and the Japanese sword. Overall, I thought that going to the war memorial and the old Ford factory was an interesting and good experience.